right. Turn that light off. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. This is my first time coming live from the Lowcountry for Kamala Facebook page, and I hope we can get some folks on tonight. Praying that everyone's had a wonderful day. Of course, I'm presenting with my scarf, with the enough scarf, because it's definitely enough. That red background representing the red or the red minions that we're up against. It's enough. Enough of that. Enough of that. It's time to stop this foolishness. Would y'all please share this out and invite some more people on so we can get this going. All right. This is the first live to welcome everyone to the Lowcountry for Kamala Facebook page. And I'm going to talk tonight about how this came about to be, how this came about, and what the page is to be used for, okay? But in the meantime, let me see. I'm going to see if I can get some people tagged up myself. And I do something Facebook Live that kind of takes up a little bit of the intro, and that's to have a little bit of music playing in the background. I'm going to see how this works out with this group. I know when I usually do my lives, I do it. But I know that this is a more seasoned crowd, okay, than sometimes the crowds that I use. Seasoned that's an old folks term, okay. But this is something from the 1960s by a group called Buffalo Springfield. And it was one of the protest songs that many of us remember from the Vietnam era. We were in school. Many of us were in school. Some of us were not in school or ditching school. But this song is called For What It's Worth. And I'm going to play this while I'm getting people tagged up. And I'll be commenting a little bit while the song is playing. All righty. Let's see. I might need to turn it up a little bit. There's something happening here. Some of y'all might remember this tune. Definitely, and it was an anti-war song. Me. Y'all please share this out. Stop, look. Everybody look what's going down. Welcome to Facebook Live with the pastor. I see my tag button ain't working too well. That's all right. So if you all would just please share this on out, that'll work. That'll definitely work. Time to stop and watch that sound. Yeah, my tag button definitely not working, but that's all right. That's all right. We're going to do this thing and hopefully set ourselves up for the next 97 days until the actual election, and set it up in a way that we know as the Lowcountry that we've done everything we can to ensure that Kamala Harris emerges as the victor in this race for the president of the United States. There are no other options, people. They said paranoia strikes deep. I don't know if this is paranoia or whatever, but this is a clear and present danger that we have right now with this clown. And if I offend anybody by the way I say things, please charge it to my head and not my heart. I don't mean any offense, but sometimes I'm just going to call things as I see them. And after I listened to that clown today at the journalist forum, the Black Journalist Forum, he doesn't deserve any kind of respect. Now, I would give him grace just as I would give anyone grace, in any situation. where someone was repentant, but I have not seen an ounce, a minute, or a second of repentance in him. Okay, at all. At all. I don't know if I can share this myself. I don't think I can. Okay. So I'm going to have to rely on you to share it out. Okay. So let me get into this thing, and let me get into it solid with this welcome. Okay. I prepared a statement for the welcome tonight. That way everybody can get an understanding of just where we are at. And I think it's crucial that we understand where we are. I don't think anybody out here today is disillusioning themselves on the dire circumstances that we're in, the situation, or the absolute necessity of Kamala Harris winning this election. The option is not an option. Okay. So let me go over this prepared statement. And please, again, share this out. Invite more people in, especially people who are on the Lowcountry for Kamala Facebook page. But the page is a public page, so you can share it out to anyone and they can actually see and view the broadcast. All right. So, many of you all might be familiar with this popular quote. A quote from the 17th century or 18th century, I believe it was. The quote is, "Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country." And interestingly enough, that's not how the original quote ended. The author changed it. The author, Charles E. Weller, his original quote was this. It says, "Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their party." Their party, not the country. He changed it to say country. And my friends, at this particular point in time, truer words were never written. But it's a whole lot more serious than when Weller's quote intimates. The way things are today in our nation, it would be infinitely more accurate if this quote would read this way. "Now is the time for all good men, of course, as well as all good women and our children, everybody. Now is the time for all of us sane Americans to come to the aid of our party and our country." My friends, at this point in time in our nation is in dire straits. There's no sense in disillusioning ourselves. We are in dire straits, and the future of our democracy is in peril. I can't vacillate or equivocate on the terms that I'm using. I can't stress enough the importance of not allowing what's happening in our nation to happen. Okay. When you look at it, when you look around and you look at what's coming out of the warped minds of the radical right, and yeah, I said it, the warped minds of the radical right, because something wrong with them people. Seriously, something is wrong with them. They're not American. They're not Christian. They're not human. They I don't know what they are. If they didn't bleed blood, I'd think there was some kind of program bots or something like that. I don't know. But we look at what's coming out of their warped minds. We have the Heritage Foundation. Rich, crazy people. Very wealthy, crazy people with a plot to literally them having money and power is not enough for them. They want it all, the whole thing. Project 2025. What kind of demented mind came up with that, as well as what, Agenda 47? There's no difference. We're not stupid. We're not stupid, but they think that we are, okay? On the education side, we got Moms for Liberty attacking our schools. This is all part of the same group. Also, we have on the education side, Turning Point USA, TPUSA, attacking our students. They're working their way into our school systems, going after our students, trying to make them twice the hounds of hell that they are themselves. And they're trying to do it in Jesus' name. Wrong Jesus. This is Pastor Dixon speaking. Wrong Jesus, not my Jesus, okay? And they're also using a group called Unity City to infiltrate our churches with the doctrine of dominionism and the seven mountain mandate. Over time, I will talk more, and there's videos I can share and whatever, videos that myself, Roy Willie, Anjane Davis, and Elvin Spates that we had a whole evening discussing dominionism and the seven mountain mandate and Moms for Liberty. I can share those on this page. But these things are coming out, these crazy minds. These people they're about taking over our America. They're not trying to make America great again. They're trying to make America them again. And that's a problem. And the unifying factor between all of these sinister entities that are aimed at ending democracy as we know it and robbing us of the freedoms that our forefathers fought and died for is a former president who never should have been elected president in the first place, Donald John Trump. He's the central figure of all of this. No matter who says what, he is the central figure of this mess that we see ourselves involved in right now. This darkness, this dark place that we're in as a nation right now. But now, no matter how bleak the picture that I've painted, and I did paint a very bleak picture, no matter how bleak that picture seems, no matter how dark the day may seem, there's a 17th century proverb that says it's always darkest before the dawn. And that dawn, that daybreak that we so desperately wanted and needed for so long, 10 days ago, she peeked her head over the horizon with a smile and a pep in her step and a backbone of steel when President Joe Biden announced that he was stepping down as the Democratic candidate in the 2024 presidential race, and he fully endorsed his Vice President, Kamala Harris, as the next president of the United States. Before that time, many of us had the Eeyore syndrome. Oh, woe is me, all is lost. And I know you'll attest to it. Many of us had a serious funk and was locked in a serious depression because we said we can't win. And the media wasn't helping instead our party itself wasn't helping instead of uplifting and standing and supporting our honorable President Joe Biden. They turned their backs on him, but that's not the point of tonight's message. He did what an honorable man who placed his country first was supposed to do in the face of what he was faced with. He stepped down and he fully endorsed Kamala Harris. And at that time, there were questions. But as the days progressed, as we went from honest pessimism to the beginnings of cautious optimism, as we watched as a flame caught fire, a little flicker, a little blue flame, a flame that has now grown and grown and grown and continues to grow into a big, huge blue wildfire. A fire that cannot and will not be extinguished because Democrats like you have made a commitment to build on the greatness that America already is and never go back to the bygone America the un-American right wants to take us back to. In a matter of days, Kamala Harris has reinstilled hope in the hearts of many of us who were hopeless. And she's inspired us to once again believe in that timeless mantra that a skinny former president with a funny name told us over a decade ago, yes, we can. And my friends, that's why we're here. And that's why it was laid on my heart to start up the Lowcountry for Kamala Facebook page. The longer version of which, the name being the Lowcountry for Kamala Organizing Facebook page. Because how many of y'all know we got to organize to win? We can't take anything for granted. We can't let things go undone. We're going to have to put in work, and we're going to have to do it in an organized, concerted method. And we of the Lowcountry, I'm praying that we can rise to the challenge and step up and put in place the things that are going to ensure that we've done our part to get out the vote, to make sure that people understand the severity of the situation that we're in now, that they understand the issues that we're faced with, and that everybody, because everybody has a different part to play, but there is a part to play, that everybody does their part to ensure that, one, on November 6th, Kamala Harris is declared the uncontestable, legally and legitimately 47th president of these United States, and that we've done everything to ensure that Democratic candidates up and down the ballot are elected to office. We have an opportunity this year to take over our federal government, the United States Senate and the House, if we'll just go vote. We have an opportunity to take over our statewide elections if we just go vote. Because there are a lot less of them than there are of us. I mean, of them than there are of us. They're just loud. They're just vocal in what they do. And we need to make sure that we're doing everything that we can in order to make sure that we win. Because when she wins, we win. When she wins, the people will win. And if she doesn't win, the reciprocal is a reality. The people definitely will lose under a Donald J. Trump second administration. He almost killed us all the first time. Almost killed us. He's going to do it this time. For real, for real. Okay, so now back to the page. Page setup. Intro over. Why do we have a Lowcountry for Kamala Facebook page? Okay, this is basically answered in the first question for all of you that came on board. Some of whom, if you are my friends or know you or whatever, and I sent you a personal invitation, you didn't go through the vetting process of answering the questions, but you will be sent those questions in the near future. But in the questions, I had 3 questions that were asked of those that came and wanted to join the Lowcountry for Kamala Facebook page. The first one is the basic question. Okay, will you help Democrat Kamala Harris become the next president of the United States? And also our South Carolina Democratic candidates up and down the ballot to win on November 2024. That was a yes or no question. Why are we here? Why is this page there? In order to help Kamala Harris win and to help Democrats win up and down the ballot on November 5th. Just that simple. Anybody who had to answer the question there had to answer that question yes, or they were kicked out right away. Okay. Now, in order to accomplish this, okay, the first step is to know how we can get in touch with people. So that was the second question, how we can get in touch with people aside from on social media. So the second question was, how can we connect with you? Your name, your address, and your cell number, okay? Noting that the organizers with Kamala for the Lowcountry for Kamala will not share any personal information without anybody's prior approval. It's not what we do. We don't act like those other folks do. They do shady stuff. We ain't shady. We're Democrats, and we're better than that, okay? So now, for what reason? What is the page here for, all right? The page is meant to be an information source, a source where anyone who's a part of the page can share their political posts, events that are going on, memes that just happen to come up on their timeline and they want to share. Of course, there are rules that are associated with the page. One being that there's no profanity on the page, please. It's an ask. It's an ask, okay? But aside from there, also that we make sure that we're treating one another with respect inside of the group, just like we should be doing anyway, okay? But the purpose of the page is to spread information. First off, information about the elections and the election process. The how, what, when, where, and whys of the next 90 days. When early voting starts. How can you get registered? When is the last chance you'll have to get registered? What about ex-felons voting? All of these things will be explained on that page, so you'll have a ready resource to go to anytime you have questions about the election process between now and November 5th. If you have questions about your own registration, which we will continue to encourage everybody, check your registration. Go to scvotes.gov or scvotes.org, either one. It's going to take you to the same place, and check your registration to make sure that you are registered, because these Republicans have a way of purging people off of the rolls. So we have people that show up to cast their vote, and they get there and they find out that they're not registered anymore because they've been purged from the system. And it's too late, because you must be registered to vote 30 days in advance of the election here in South Carolina. You can't register to vote 1 week before the election. You can't go to early vote, find out that you're not registered, and go and register then and vote in that election. You have to be registered to vote 30 days in advance of the election. So there'll be more information shared. As a matter of fact, some of it is shared already on the Lowcountry for Kamala Facebook page, where anybody can have the questions that they have answered. And if you don't get the answer that you're looking for, message us, DM us. That's what we're here for, okay? So election information will be there about over the next 90 days, what's going on, 96 days, I believe it is, what's going on. There'll be candidate information, not only just about Kamala Harris. Of course, there'll be information about her, what she's doing. But yesterday in Atlanta, I don't know whether you all listened to her speech yesterday, but it was incredible. It was incredible. I'm fired up and ready to go. I don't know about y'all, but she got me stoked, And I hope that she's got that blue flame I just talked about. I hope it's building in everyone's heart, because that's what happens when you have hope. When you go from hopelessness to hope, you begin to say, yes, we can. Yes, we can. And she is instilling that in people. So, but for the page, not just Kamala Harris and the run for the presidency, it's also a place to share our other candidates who are running for office, okay? As long as it's done respectfully and not too much, not one person or one candidate trying to take over the Lowcountry for Kamala. That name is there for a reason. But let us know about, what's going on, who's running and who they're running against, Like, let's just say Rita Atkins, I believe it is. She's running against the 3%er, Matt Lieber, former South Carolina House representative, who is his background includes being the equivalent of the Proud Boys. He's that kind of racist, okay? And so sometimes we need to know who a candidate is running against also, so we know just how hard we have to go. In District 36 right now, there's a real racist named Tom Fernandez who's running against, what's his first name? I forget his first name. Last name is Stevens. Might be Darren Stevens, okay? This dude here, he's insane. He's insane. But he's running. He's the Republican candidate for the House of Representatives, District 36. So some of these races we got to definitely go harder on than others, okay? So to know what, who the candidates are, who the candidates are running against, especially if the one they're running against is a bigger threat than some of the others, all righty? But all of them, if they're Republicans, they're still a threat, because they're all going to vote for Trump, bottom line, okay? Campaign events. Campaign events need to be on the page so people can monitor what's going on. So we'll know what's happening, where to go, when to be there, so we can support our candidates that are running, especially Kamala Harris as she comes into the Lowcountry. We want to be well represented at any event she has. Matter of fact, anywhere in South Carolina. If we can get there, we need to be there. That's what it's all about. Also on the page, there'll be volunteer opportunities, okay? I'm going to stop right there and give a big thank you to Ann Osterpage. I think I said that right. I hope I said it right, okay? For stepping up without hesitation to help with building out the page or moderate the page. I really appreciate it. Some of y'all know I got a couple of fires burning myself, my hands in a couple of different places. And a lot of times I'm so thin I can't get things done. And Ann stepped up without a question and said, hey, how can I help? And that's what volunteer opportunities are for us collectively here as the Lowcountry for Kamala. Everybody needs to step up. As a matter of fact, one of the question, the third question that's asked for those that sign up and go through the 3-question period, the third question is about volunteering and about organizing. There are 4 questions that are asked right there, and each question requires an answer, okay? The one question is basic, okay? It's the basic question is, will you volunteer to help get out the vote? GOTV. If you see those initials, GOTV, that means get out the vote, okay? And if so, how will you volunteer to help get out the vote? And there were four ways that were there, and you could check any combination of the 4 or 1, or really, if you're just that person who doesn't think that they can do anything to help, I got news, you can. There's something that you can do. But you really don't necessarily have to do that. But we need volunteers. We need volunteers. We need volunteers for phone banking, and or for postcard writing and letter writing, okay? It's unfair to have the enthusiasm that's being generated because Kamala Harris is going to be our candidate after the Democratic convention. She is going to be the Democratic candidate. And it's unfair to her, and it's unfair to others who will readily roll up their sleeves and go to work trying to do anything they can to get the job done, when we have others who could even just sit in the comfort of their home and make phone calls or write postcards, okay? Then we have community outreach and canvassing, those who have the ability and the time available to go into communities. And I suggest, and this is something different than what the party does. And I'm going to talk about the party, but not tonight, as far as what makes this a little bit different than what the party does. The way that we do things with the Lowcountry for Kamala is going to be slightly different. Community outreach and or canvassing should start in a person's own community, where you live at, to go to your neighbors, especially like-minded neighbors, and to just have conversations on them, asking them, first off, will you be supporting Kamala Harris for president? And if not, we'll make sure that you have some talking points to go over them with, not to try to beat anybody over the head or make them do anything. No, it's all about cordial. If somebody says, no, I support the other side, the response is, well, right on. God bless you, okay? Have a good evening. And move on. It doesn't have to be any contentions or arguments or anything like that. But to go to neighbors, even have a neighborhood meet and greet, and bring in candidates or whatever. Okay, that's something they can be doing. But we have door-to-door knocking. We have things in the community that we need to be doing. And one of the things that anybody can do, we can help coordinate campaign events within our community. In our community, there might be 3 or 4 churches there. You can contact the pastor in your own community or a representative, the secretary or something, and set up a time when someone else can call. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, someone else could call and ask, can we set up a day when a candidate or can come, or surrogate can come and speak at the church for 5 minutes about getting out the vote. This is not telling the church they have to endorse any candidates or anything. And as nonprofits, they have the ability to entertain anyone inside their church who wants to present. Not support as a church, but to present. And of course, inside the churches, any individual not representing the church itself or nonprofit itself, individuals can support any candidates they want. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to make sure that we get surrogates or candidates inside of all of the churches in the Lowcountry, at least for 5 or 10 minutes, to just give them a little bit of why the Democratic way is the only way. Not to talk negatively about the other side, but just present what's right about the Democratic Party. That's all. So we need people in the communities to reach out to the churches in their community and to have those conversations, not only the churches, but host meet and greets in the community, or at your home if you can do that. Host fundraisers, okay? All of these things can be done in specific communities and without waiting for the county party or anybody to do anything. We have to get out of that mindset. We have to get up and get involved ourselves, okay? And of course, finally, financially support Kamala Harris. That was one of the questions, okay? Kamala Harris and our other Democratic candidates up and down the ballot, okay? Financials, as a former candidate for for United States Senate and also a mayoral candidate, as much as I hated to do it, I realized that it was a necessary part of campaigning, fundraising. And as we look at the outpouring of love that's been shown for Kamala Harris, she's raised in a week over $200 million. And that's going to go a long way with guaranteeing her win, because television ads and campaigns, they're not inexpensive. They are costly to make these commitments and go here and go there. I had enough problems with running a 46 county campaign. And she's got a 50 state campaign that she's got to run. Okay. And likewise with our other candidates that are up and down the ballot. Michael Moore for District 1, he's got the entire district that he's got to cover. It's not an easy thing to do. Our House representatives, our South Carolina Senate candidates, they have their areas to cover and they need funding. So that the page will be a place where you can there's a link there to support. I think there's one link already there for this being July 31st. Anybody who wants to contribute to Kamala Harris's campaign, to her campaign, as we close out the month of July. Every end of the month, you will see a big push to close out the month big. Please consider making a donation tonight before midnight. But if you can't make it tonight before midnight, you can do it in the morning, well and good. But tonight before midnight is great. Just if you can, because everybody can't. If you can donate, please donate to be a part of history as we take our country by storm, away from those who want to take our country back to a place that's going to definitely not be a good place for everybody. Okay? All righty. Again, the group rules are there on the page. Anybody who wants to read the group rules, you can actually find them right there on the page. Please take time to read those, okay? All righty. Now, these lives. Every Wednesday at 8 o'clock, I'm going to do a live. It might not just be me, but doing the lives. But every Wednesday as a way to update everybody or keep everybody abreast of what's going on. Hopefully, maybe even to motivate people a little bit more, just to let you know how organizing is going in Orangeburg County, how organizing is going in Colleton or Dorchester or Berkeley or Charleston County or Hampton County or Beaufort, what's going on in Hilton Head area. We will have all of that available for those who tune in. And I'm going to try to make it more interactive by not just using Facebook Live, but two things. StreamYard that would allow more versatility in the presentation, but also probably going through Zoom, okay, where everybody can log on and be a part of the conversation and everything. And by the way, I've also reached out to a few potential guests that I'm going to call encouragers, okay? People who you all know through the party in one capacity or another, some political figures, some not political figures, some who you know from as CNN representatives or who have run for previous offices, to see if I can get them on to just give 5 minutes or so of encouragement to all who come and sit in on the Lowcountry for Kamala Facebook Live on Wednesday. Okay. Yeah, yeah. More about who the people will be that'll be coming on, the names, after I get confirmation back from them and the night that they're going to be on, then I'll put out a list, a public list, okay? So you'll know who the special guest encourager is going to be. I don't want to say guest star or anything like that, no, because we need to get away from that star-struck concept. Encouragers, and we want people to encourage one another, to be encouraged. You know, if I was close enough to our future president, I would ask her to come and say a couple of words. But I believe that all things are possible. Maybe one day, maybe she will. I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see. So, as I come to a close, I want to say something. I posted a homemade meme up about this, okay? And it's about how we as older people use social media. And I know that there's probably not a whole bunch of younger people right now in Lowcountry for Kamala. I hope that they will come on board. But, you know, many times that we as older folks, the only thing that we do when we see posts that that really mean something to us, okay? We hit the like button and then we go on to our next thing. That's not how we really make an impact with what we're doing, okay? We can make an impact. You ever wonder how with these kids, right, with our younger generation, how they might have something, I don't know if you read news or watch news or whatever, but they might have an event going on that nobody, even the police, don't know about, but all of them know about it, and hundreds of them show up at those events. You know how they do it? They do it through social media. They do it because instead of just hitting the like button and say, oh, that's pretty cool, I like that. No, they will hit the like button and then share it to all of their friends so that all of their friends know what's going on. And us older folks on social media, we kind of stuck in this rut. We think we've done our whole obligation. That's it. I hit the like button. Okay, take care. When the reality is we could be touching thousands of people if each one of us would just start sharing posts, just like the younger ones do. They be having some parties. It's incredible. They have meetups at the mall where the police have to come and get them because there'd be too many of them. And they do it all through social media by not only liking a post, but sharing that post in their circles and inviting those that they share it to share it also. You know that the advertisement game is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Multi-billion-dollar and maybe even trillion-dollar industry. And it ain't cheap. But with social media and the posts we make on social media, we can impact and get our message across to thousands and thousands of people without spending a dime. All we have to do is what? Instead of like and share to all of our people. Let's start. I want you to think about that. Think about how we can really begin to really impact and change the dynamic, the shift, okay? And getting people to understand that one, a second Trump administration is not an option. That is a clear and present danger for most of America. And two, that Kamala Harris must win this election on November the 5th. There are no options. And subsequently, if she wins, we should be able to pull up and down the ballot other Democrats into the winning circles also. Remembering, and this is something that is really key, that our nonpartisan elections, like our school board, those come after, in a section after those in the partisan race. Our Democratic versus Republican races go first, but then afterward, there still comes our nonpartisan races, our school boards and others. So if you pull a straight Democratic ticket, you cannot forget to go and vote for our school board candidates that actually are going to represent our values. Moms for Liberty has taken over school boards across this state. And because of that, we see book banning. We see superintendents being terminated and replaced with their people. Their legal counsels in the school districts replaced with their people. Everything in order to move their agenda, which their agenda is the Heritage Foundation agenda, which is the Project 2025 agenda, which is the Agenda 47 agenda, and the MAGA agenda. That's all that they do. And if we forget to go down and vote for our candidates that's going to represent our democratic values, we're setting ourselves up by allowing our children to be in a school system that's run by racists. And if you're not familiar with what they've been doing inside of those board meetings, you should familiarize yourself. They should be embarrassed to be behaving the way that they do. All right. So with that said, we've already had some things going on in the Lowcountry, all righty, especially right here local. I'm not sure, I haven't gotten much input from the surrounding areas. I'm hoping that we begin to stretch out and get input from other people. I will be reaching out to more of our counties for information about what's going on. But right here yesterday, I want to give a shout out to Pro Truth South Carolina, E3 Foundation, and Movement 400. They launched an organizing effort to get out the vote yesterday. Okay. And we're all working together. Okay. So there's no who's better than who or who's fighting with who. There ain't none of that. Okay. We got one opponent, and that opponent is MAGA. That's it. We are not our own enemies, and we need to get out of that whole thing about fighting with one another. Okay. Also tonight, the women of International Longshoremen Association, Local 1422, they teamed up with State Representative Wendell Gilliard, Quadjo Campbell, and former South Carolina State Senate candidate Kim Green at the Longshoremen's Association tonight. They had an event tonight, okay? And I saw on the Lowcountry for Kamala Facebook page that the Charleston Area Black Caucus has an event next Monday from 6:30 to 8:30 out in Adams Run. The flyer is right there on the Lowcountry for Kamala Facebook page. It was posted there by my good friend LJ, Lori Johnson. Lori or LJ, please forgive me if I can't say the ancestral name. Okay, you have to give me a tutoring session on how to pronounce it. Okay, but yeah, in closing, let me just say that whether you all know it or realize it, Trump and the Republican Party, they running scared right now. They're scared. They never expected Kamala Harris to come up to be the candidate for president. And two, they didn't expect the impact that she was going to make as that candidate with Joe Biden's support. Nope, done messed them up. The timing was impeccable. I don't know whether it was intentional, but it was perfect. Waiting till after they had made the Republican convention declarations, the VP was picked. And they can't walk that back. And then all of a sudden, here comes that daybreak. Here comes that dawn. Here comes that brightness that came before, at the end of the darkness. And she has done in 10 days. She's turned a nation around, a nation of true believers. And when I say believers, I mean those who believe in the democratic process. Those who believe that nobody here in our nation should be denied health care. That everybody all of our children deserve a quality public education, and that nobody should be working for slave wages, and that every job has the right to collective bargain, to form unions. There's so many areas right now that I can cover as far as democratic values. I'm just not going to get into them. But you know what I'm talking about. Us versus them. If you look at how they talk, listen to Trump sometime. There's no substance. He doesn't talk about anything that he can do because he can't do. He had 4 years to do, and all he allowed was millions of people to die from COVID. All he did was walk back whatever the black president had put in place, because that's what bigots do. All he did was defame the office of the presidency in the United States, and took us from the world power status that we've been to that vision of us being tainted in the eyes of the international community, because he likes to be friends with dictators, as he fashions himself to be a dictator. An embarrassment that orchestrated an attack on the nation's capital to prevent an election from what he alleged was being stolen, but he did it in order to steal it. And he's already talking about right now how they're going to try to steal this election. So it's time for us to get up and get down, as they say, and do everything we can to make sure that Kamala Harris emerges soundly, irrefutably, undisputedly as the winner of the election on November the 5th. That November the 6th, that we all get up that morning breathing a true sigh of relief. Right now, as we can breathe right now, but a true sigh of relief, knowing that she literally beat the mess out of Donald J. Trump in the election at the ballot box. Okay, I don't do physical. That ain't what I do. Man of peace. Let's do it. Let's get it. So y'all, please invite some more people to come and join the the Lowcountry for Kamala Facebook page. And just be advised that more updates and things will be happening on that page, so that everyone can stay abreast of what's going on, and let us know just what you can do to help Kamala Harris win this election, as well as all of our other Democratic candidates up and down the ballot. This is the pastor. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you all for entertaining me for this time. And stand by. Next week, 8 o'clock p.m. on Wednesday, I'll be back. Y'all take care. Love y'all.